Your car won't start, and your first thought is, time for a new battery. But wait, what if I told you that could be the biggest mistake? Replacing it too soon could cost you money, time, and headaches because the real issue might be hidden somewhere else. In fact, I've uncovered 19 things you must check first, and wait until you see number 15. It's so sneaky, almost nobody realizes it's the true reason their car won't start. Number 19, check ground connections. This is the cable that links the negative side of your battery to the car's frame and engine. Without it, electricity can't travel through the system. Now, here's where most people get fooled. The cable may look fine from the outside. It's wrapped in thick insulation, so you can't see what's happening underneath. Corrosion, dirt, or a loose clamp can block the flow of power. That means the battery might be strong, but the car still won't crank. It works the same way as water pipes. Full tank, but if the pipe is clogged, nothing flows. The same rule applies here with electricity. So what should you check? Look closely where the cable bolts to the car's frame. Is it tight? Is the metal surface shiny? Or is it covered in white or green gunk? If it's dirty, clean it with a wire brush, or even a mix of baking soda and water. Tighten the clamp until it doesn't wiggle. Electricity has to flow freely, but here's a twist. Sometimes the real problem isn't in the wires at all, it's in how you drive. Number 18, inspect for short trips. Short trips feel harmless, right? Quick drive to the store, grab groceries, back home. But here's the catch. Your battery hates that routine. It needs time to recharge while you drive. When the engine barely warms up, the battery never gets its full meal of power. I found this out the embarrassing way. For 2 weeks, I only drove my car to the corner market, maybe 5 minutes each time. One cold morning, I turned the key. Click, click, nothing. I was ready to drop $200 on a new battery, but the mechanic just laughed. Your battery's fine, you just don't drive enough. Ouch. The truth is simple. Batteries need long stretches on the road to refill. 5 minutes isn't enough. 10 minutes isn't enough. They crave miles, not blocks. So, give your car a workout. Take the long road to work and cruise the highway on a Sunday. Even a 30-minute drive can wake the battery up again. You might think you're saving time with short trips, but in reality, you're starving your battery and shortening its life. Sometimes the cure is just to drive more. But what if your battery's worst enemy is actually sitting inside your own car, draining it one button at a time? Number 17. Look at electrical accessories. Your battery is like a boss with too many employees asking for money. Every accessory you turn on is taking a paycheck. The radio, heated seats, phone chargers, lights. Each one is pulling power. And when you start the car, that's the moment your battery needs every ounce of strength. Here's the mistake many drivers make. They crank the key with the blower on full blast. The wipers moving and the stereo pumping. The car struggles, and everyone blames the battery. But the truth? The poor thing was just overloaded. Watch out for sluggish signs too. Power windows that crawl up, a fan that barely blows. These aren't always battery issues. They can point to wiring problems, weak relays, or even a bad switch. Switch everything off before starting. Give your battery a fair fight. Once the engine is running, let it breathe for about 15 minutes. Then blast your music, heat your seats, and charge your phone. Remember, modern cars are computers on wheels. And just like your laptop, they need a clean, steady power source to work right. However, sometimes the culprit isn't the gadgets. It's a hidden part under the hood that's supposed to roar to life, but instead wheezes. Number 16, check the starter motor. The starter is like the muscle that cranks your engine to life. And muscles need lots of energy. If the starter is weak, it slurps up extra power and makes the battery look guilty. That's why drivers swap out a perfectly good battery only to still be stuck. How do you spot a bad starter? Listen closely. One loud click, or a series of fast clicks. Maybe the engine cranks slowly, almost in slow motion. Sometimes you'll hear grinding, or even a high-pitched whirring noise. Other times, the car starts one day and refuses the next. I had a friend who went through this exact nightmare. His car wouldn't start, and the shop first told him it was out of fuel. He filled up the tank, still nothing. Later, they swapped the battery, still dead. Only after more checks did they realize the starter was the real problem. Wasted time, wasted money, all because of a bad diagnosis. More warning signs include dimming dashboard lights, a burning smell, or even smoke from under the hood. None of those should ever be ignored. Unfortunately, starters aren't cheap. While a new battery might cost $150, $300, a starter replacement can easily reach $700 or more. That's why testing before replacing is crucial. Don't throw money at the wrong part. But the next trap, even sneakier. Imagine something in your car secretly sipping power while you sleep. Shine a light on them and on this channel by hitting like and subscribe. Number 15. Look for parasitic drains. Sometimes your car battery drains while the car is parked. That's called a parasitic drain. Something keeps pulling power when it shouldn't. You lock the doors, walk away, and by morning, the battery is flat. The culprits are often hidden. A glove box light that never turns off. A trunk light stuck on. An aftermarket stereo wired incorrectly. Even a small dash cam can suck juice around the clock. These little drains don't seem like much, but over hours they bleed your battery dry. The tricky part is that you may not notice. Lights are tucked away. Devices are wired out of sight. Everything looks normal until you turn the key and hear nothing. That's why so many people mistake a healthy battery for a dead one. If your battery keeps dying overnight, don't rush to replace it. Grab a multimeter or let a shop check for current draw when the car is off. If numbers show power moving, something's draining it. Number 14. Check fuses and relays. In the charging system, even a single blown fuse can cut the flow of power. The battery ends up looking guilty, but it's just stranded with no support. The good news, spotting a bad fuse isn't rocket science. Open the fuse box, pull the suspect out, and check it. A healthy fuse has an unbroken metal strip inside. A blown one shows a gap, sometimes even black scorch marks. Still not sure? A multimeter or cheap test light will give you the answer in seconds. And here's the best part, fixing it costs almost nothing. A replacement fuse usually runs between $5 and $20, depending on type and size. Compare that to dropping $200 on a new battery you didn't need is a huge difference. Relays can cause similar headaches. If one sticks or fails, major systems won't get the signal to run. A fresh relay often costs under $50. Small parts, big problems, but also cheap victories if you catch them early. Number 13, examine drive belts. That long rubber belt snaking around the pulleys? That's your serpentine belt, and it's a big deal. Without it, the alternator can't spin. And if the alternator can't spin, your battery never gets recharged. A belt that slips or wears down is sneaky. The car might run fine for a while, then suddenly the battery light comes on. People rush to swap the battery, but the truth is simple. The alternator just wasn't turning like it should. Press on the belt and see if it feels loose. Watch the pulleys while the engine runs. Do the teeth grip and lock, or does the belt slide? If it's squealing, cracked, or glossy, it's begging for retirement. Mileage matters too. Once your car crosses 100,000 miles, that belt has lived a long life. Rubber ages, stretches, and eventually fails. And when it fails, it doesn't just kill charging. It can leave you stranded on the road. The fix isn't bank breaking. A new serpentine belt usually starts from $75 with labor, cheap compared to replacing a good battery for nothing. Of course, even with the belt turning, the next piece is the true power plant. Number 12, inspect the alternator. You can slap in the freshest battery on the shelf, but if the alternator is dead, it's useless. The alternator is the battery's lifeline. It's like a generator that keeps power flowing while you drive. When it fails, the battery drains until the car goes silent. Now listen to this part. Alternators don't always die loudly. Sometimes the warning is subtle. Your headlights dim when idling, then brighten when you rev the engine. The radio cuts out for no reason. Even dashboard lights flicker like they're haunted. All these point to weak charging. Testing is quick and simple. A shop can run a charging test in minutes, usually for less than $50. They'll check if voltage stays steady under load. If it dips, the alternator isn't doing its job. But be careful. Don't just yank the battery cable while the car is running. That old school trick can fry sensitive electronics in modern cars. Safer option? Use a multimeter or let a shop handle it. A $400, $800 alternator replacement is costly, but far better than replacing battery after battery while the true villain hides in plain sight. Number 11, test for voltage drop under load. A battery sitting in the driveway can look perfectly healthy. You grab a voltmeter, it reads 12.6 volts, and you think, great, it's fine. But here's the twist. Those numbers lie. A weak battery can hold voltage at rest, but the moment you you ask it to work, bam, it collapses. That's where load testing comes in. Instead of just looking at the battery while it's relaxing, you check it while it's under pressure. Think of it like an athlete. Anyone can jog slowly and look strong, but ask them to sprint up a hill and the truth shows fast. A proper load test measures how the battery handles stress, like cranking the starter or running lights, fans, and accessories all at once. If the voltage nosedives below 9.6 volts, you've got a tired battery pretending to be healthy. You can even buy handheld testers for home use. They cost less than your lunch. And here's the kicker. This method is way more reliable than static voltage alone. So before you toss out your battery, put it to the test. Pressure reveals the truth, but still, all that strength can be wasted if a little crusty buildup cuts the lifeline. Number 10, check battery terminals. You might be wondering how rust magically appears on your battery. Truth is, it doesn't. The posts themselves don't just corrode out of nowhere. The real trick is in the materials. Your battery posts are usually lead. The clamps gripping them, often copper or another metal. Add a whiff of sulfuric acid fumes from the battery, and suddenly you've created the perfect storm. Galvanic corrosion. It shows up as that chalky white or green crust on the terminals. Doesn't look dangerous, but it's a silent thief. Why? Because corrosion blocks the flow of electricity. Your battery might be full of energy, but with crust on the posts, it's like trying to drink a milkshake through a clogged straw. The car struggles, the starter clicks, and you think, dead battery. Not true. Use a $5 wire brush made for batteries. Scrub until the posts shine like new. Then spray on a corrosion protector or rub petroleum jelly to seal out moisture. Pro tip, do this every 6 months. Fall and spring are perfect. Number 9, trickle charge overnight. Most people think a battery that won't start is instantly dead. But here's a secret. A battery can be perfectly healthy and still act dead if it's been sitting too long. Cars that aren't driven often, like a weekend ride or one parked during winter, slowly drain their batteries bit by bit. Now, here's where the trick comes in. Instead of rushing to buy a new one, give it a slow, steady sip of power. This is called a trickle charge. Unlike jump starting, which blasts the battery with energy, a trickle charger feeds it gently over several hours or even overnight. Think of it like giving the battery a good night's rest instead of a shot of caffeine. I've seen batteries come back from the dead after one night on a $30 trickle charger. Compare that to dropping $150, $200 on a brand new battery you didn't actually need. That's money straight back into your pocket. If your battery's been sitting unused, don't throw it away. Hook it up, let it drink slowly, and in the morning, it just might surprise you. Number 8, try jump starting. Yes, this one is almost the first step for every driver, jump starting. But here's the thing, it's more than just a rescue trick. It's also a quick test that tells you what's really wrong. Hook up jumper cables or a booster pack. Give the battery that boost of life. Now watch closely. If the car fires up and stays running, your alternator is pulling its weight. That means the charging system is fine, and your battery is probably the weak link. But if the engine dies the moment you remove the cables, different story. That usually screams alternator trouble. The battery was only borrowing power, not getting refilled. Without a working alternator, even a brand new battery will leave you stranded in no time. I've done this myself with an old truck. It jumped alive, but the second the cables came off, everything faded. Radio, lights, engine. Turned out the alternator wasn't feeding anything back. Saved me from wasting money on a new battery. So remember, a jump start isn't just a way to get moving. It's your first detective move before spending a dime. Number 7, check for warning lights. When that red battery symbol flickers, it's not always saying the battery is dead. It's really telling you the charging system isn't happy. That means your alternator may not be feeding power back, or a belt might be slipping, but most of us shrug it off. Unlike the engine light, it doesn't spark panic, because hey, the car is still running, until it suddenly isn't. Ignore it long enough, and the car will shut down right in traffic. It's the same with other charging warnings, like a dimming headlight icon, or sudden messages on modern digital dashboards. They're early clues. They are like a smoke alarm. It's not the fire yet, but it's giving you a chance to act before it's too late. If you see that light, don't gamble. Pay attention early, and you'll save cash, time, and a tow truck call. Treat every warning light with urgency, not excuses. It's the difference between a quick fix today and a wallet-draining breakdown tomorrow. Warning lights don't lie, and yet sometimes they're not even needed. The seasons themselves can tell you what's happening to your battery. Number 6, consider weather conditions. Cold mornings can make even a strong battery act weak. Why? Because freezing weather thickens your engine oil and slows the battery's chemical reactions. It's like trying to sprint in wet boots. Everything feels heavy and sluggish. In the summer heat, the opposite happens. High temperatures can actually speed up chemical wear inside the battery. It cranks fine for a while, but lifespan quietly shortens in the background. That's why many winter failures are really summer damage catching up. Here's the twist. Sometimes your battery isn't dying at all. It's just struggling against the weather. When temps rise again, it suddenly recovers, leaving drivers confused. That's why mechanics often test batteries under load, not just at rest. Cold and damp weather can also encourage corrosion around terminals. I make it a habit every winter to pop the hood, brush the clamps, and add a thin coat of petroleum jelly. Takes 5 minutes, but saves me a dead car on frosty mornings. Don't blame the battery right away. Ask yourself, is it the weather, the wear, or truly the end? Number 5, check battery age. Every car part has an expiration date, and your battery is no different. Most last about 3 to 5 years. After that, you're on borrowed time. Just like the foods we take, milk is fine today, sour tomorrow. The easiest clue? Check the sticker date on the top or side of the battery. If it's pushing past year 4 and your car struggles to crank, don't ignore it. Age plus symptoms is your biggest red flag. Now here's the mistake many people make: buying a new battery that isn't really new. Some batteries sit on shelves for months, even a year, before being sold on discount. Guess what? You're inheriting the clock that's already ticking. Even repair shops have return agreements with manufacturers for this reason. They know shelf life matters. It's human nature to grab a cheap special offer battery, but that shortcut bites back. Most die in a year, leaving you stranded at the worst time, like late at night. Don't just ask, does it work? Ask, how old is it? A fresh battery buys peace of mind. An old one just buys you trouble. Number 4, inspect for physical damage. Sometimes your eyes beat every fancy tool. If a battery is swollen like a balloon, leaking acid, or cracked across the case, the game is over. No charging, no reviving, no tricks. Swelling means heat, or overcharging cooked the cells. Cracks mean the casing can't hold pressure anymore. Leaks? That's acid, and it doesn't care if it's your paint, your clothes, or your skin. It will eat through all of them. This is the one moment in car care where there's zero debate. If you see it, it's done. And here's the kicker. Driving with a damaged battery is dangerous. Acid can drip onto cables, corrode brackets, or even short the system. In rare cases, trapped gases can build up and boom, a small explosion under your hood. So treat this like food past its expiry date. You wouldn't eat green chicken, right? Same with a cracked or swollen battery. Stop driving, swap it out, and save yourself from a far bigger mess. When the battery's body gives up, that's the end of the road. Surprisingly, even with a brand new one, you're not out of the woods, because your car might simply forget who it is. Number 3, reset and relearn electronics. Modern cars are basically rolling computers, and like any computer, pulling the plug resets things. Swap the battery, and suddenly your radio forgets its stations, your clock blinks 1200, and the alarm system acts like it's guarding Fort Knox. But it goes deeper. Many cars have an ECU, the brain that controls fuel, idle speed, and throttle response. When power's cut, it loses memory. That means your car might run rough, idle funny, or even stall until it relearns your driving style. Sounds weird, but it's true. Cars adapt to how you drive. Here's the curveball. Some systems need manual resets. Windows might refuse to auto-roll, sunroofs might stop mid-slide, and keyless entry could glitch. On some luxury models, even heated seats forget their settings. Annoying? Very. Shops know this trick. That's why they hook up a backup battery during replacement, so the car never truly forgets. You can do the same with a memory saver tool. Costs less than $20. Saves tons of frustration. Treat your car like a smart gadget, not just a hunk of metal. And just when you think you're ready to buy a new one, here's a trick that could save you serious cash. Number 2, understand warranty options. Before you rush to buy a new battery, pause. That chunk of plastic under your hood might still be under warranty. And yes, many shops quietly hope you forget that. Most car batteries come with 2 coverage types. First is free replacement, usually 2-3 years. If your battery dies in that window, the shop swaps it, zero cost to you. Then there's prorated coverage. That means after the free period, you still get a discount depending on age. Maybe 50% off, maybe less, but it's better than paying full price. Here's the catch. If you tamper with the battery, pry it open, overfill it, or swap stickers, you can kiss that warranty goodbye. The store clerk won't tell you this with tears. They'll be smiling while charging you double. Smart move? Check the purchase date on the battery or your receipt before replacing. Even snap a photo when you first buy it. Saves digging later. Warranties are like hidden gold. Most drivers forget they exist. But even beyond warranties, there's one final culprit that mimics every dead battery symptom in the book. Number 1. Inspect the ignition switch. Your car might not start, and everyone blames the battery. But sometimes, the real villain is the ignition switch. Here's the first clue. Turn the key and nothing lights up. No dash lights, no radio, no chime. Total silence. That's not a weak battery, that's no power signal. Second clue. Your accessories cut in and out. The radio flickers, windows hesitate, or wipers suddenly stop. Feels random, but it's often the switch failing. Third clue. The engine cranks one day, then refuses the next. Intermittent trouble is a classic sign of worn contacts inside the switch. Don't get fooled. A bad ignition switch can mimic a dead battery or weak starter. Many people swap batteries first and waste money. Before you grab the wrench, remember, your dead battery might just be misunderstood. These tricks save cash, stress, and time. Got a story where your battery fooled you? Drop it in the comments. Let's swap lessons and laughs before the tow truck shows up.